Hey, it's Lauren with Controller Club. We're here at PAX West 2025. I'm talking to the team at KingsIsle about Ravenwood Academy. Thank you guys for your time. If you wouldn't mind just introducing yourselves and your role, we'll get started with that.
Hi, I'm Karl Holbert. I'm the art director for KingsIsle.
I'm Sam Johnson. I'm the narrative director for the studio.
Artie Rogers, game director.
Amazing. So just to start off, could you tell me a little bit about the game and what players can expect from Ravenwood Academy?
Ravenwood Academy is our first new game in more than a decade. It is not an MMO or an RPG. It is a single-player, one-time purchase, point-and-click adventure, virtual novel sort of a thing. Single player, it is designed around a core of mystery and investigation gameplay. So in Wizard, you were too busy questing to ever go to class. In this game, it is an academic narrative. You are a student at Ravenwood, and you will take quizzes and sweat your finals and make friends, but weird things keep happening. And so you'll go gather clues with your friend and try to fit those clues together and figure out what happened. And by the end of the semester, you're going to realize something weird is happening, and the faculty doesn't believe you. So you and your friends have to deal with it.
Yeah, it's a mystery adventure game, and we were looking at a lot of different mystery mechanics, and we really wanted something that was really reflected understanding of the narrative from the player, because narrative is super important for Ravenwood and Wizard. And so Ravenwood came as sort of a outgrowth of the lore interest in Wizard. And so what we wanted to do is throw it in pass a little bit, so players familiar with Wizard could be fellow students with some of the professors they know from the MMO. And so I looked at a lot of different mystery mechanics, and the one I liked is the one where you will be interacting and exploring a scene, talking to people, interacting with objects, and then you're collecting words as a result of those interactions, and then you're trying to fill out a description of what had happened in that space. And so you'll have to not only use the words you were given, but pay attention to what people are telling you, pay attention to everything that's in the environment, and even like notes or descriptions on objects will all be coming together to tell you how to fill out that summary of what happened in the event, in the scene.
The idea here is essentially it's self-contained, so that people who love Wizard or have never seen Wizard before can come and see our game world and interact with the Spiral and experience good stories without a full-time MMO commitment.
Yeah.
So we have gotten a huge response from old Wizard players who didn't know we were still around, and even players who are currently playing. And yeah, the demo has really taken off this weekend, and I would say that this gentleman is a big reason for that.
Yeah, no, it's been really interesting. The art style for Ravenwood, we had a unique challenge. You know, of course, when you get to make a new game, you want it to be really cool, right? You look at what's out there now, and it's pretty insane. But we have an older game that we have to absolutely want to make sure that we feed on that nostalgia and that fan base. So there was a unique challenge with bringing Ravenwood to life with a unique look that it fills that nostalgia. So what we try to do is keep the style, but with the use of the Unity engine, we actually have the ability to use some new shaders. So for instance, on our characters, we actually use an outline shader to create a little bit of that cell shading, but it never truly gives a fully infill to the character. So with that, we're kind of old school in our development, so we hand paint everything. So all the insides parts of the texture are actually gone in and hand painted in Photoshop. And what that does is it creates a really vibrant kind of push for the characters and helps them stand out against the background. And I think it's a big reason why people have been coming over to look at the game. It really does kind of stand out on the floor. At least I think so. Yeah. Maybe be biased.
No, I 100% agree. I'm wondering what some of the inspirations are behind this game. Did you look to any other kind of modern games or franchises when you were thinking of what to do? Particularly, this is your first single-player game from your company. Anything?
Yeah, I mean, I looked at a lot of different games. So initially, what we wanted to do is do a narrative-focused game. And then, I pitched a lot of different concepts to all the stakeholders and directors, and this is where we settled, because the MMO's initial conceit is that you are coming in as a student, but then as an RPG, you end up doing a lot of non-school related things. So we wanted to kind of try to bring a school experience to the players, the fans of Wizard. And so I looked at a lot of different mystery games, whether it's Sherlock or Call of Cthulhu or whatever, Duck Detective, Oberdin, the Golden Idol series, and the one that I settled on that met our overall direction was more akin to the Oberdin Golden Idol Duck Detective type, because they really reward the player for careful attention to not only the narrative but the environment and the different clues that come together and allows them to solve the mystery. But it's also not one where Oberdin is an exception, but we don't want one where the player is going to be stuck or necessarily they'll be rewarded for their ingenuity, but they're not going. We don't want them to feel stuck, right? We want this to be more of a cozy experience, more like Wizard. Wizard's main experience, the story-related quest line, is not something that is hyper challenging or competitive. You can make it through that, and it's very deliberately paced. And we want that same sort of vibe. We want the gameplay vibe to reflect Wizard and the storytelling vibe. And so I felt like that this type of gameplay, collecting words, assembling the description, was the one that kind of met the direction and met the sort of vibe we're going for.
And similar question, but for the art style, were there any other inspirations that you drew from in the modern gaming landscape?
Honestly, not much from the modern gaming landscape. The one thing that I did look at when we were trying to do this is, from the beginning, we called this a Wizard 101 story, right? That was something that Kaylee helped with, that we decided we wanted to kind of call that out, right? So with that, the idea was to kind of make it feel storybook and kind of give it more artistic flair. So everything feels very hand-painted. Like I'd mentioned before, it has that kind of outline shader. So instead of looking for games, I started looking to movies and animation. One of the big inspirations for us was the new TMNT film. That really painterly kind of loose style. It just really fit, even into the Spider-Verse a little bit, with how they kind of incorporate the idea of comics into the animation. So those were kind of the key factors that we were looking at, and thus from other games and more from that.
Those mystery games I referenced didn't have a dimension of the school experience that we wanted also. So we're trying to marry those things together. And so I played a lot of Persona, played a lot of Bully from back in the day, a lot of Danganronpa, played Doki Doki, to try to get a sense of what are the different qualities that make a high school experience or late high school, early college experience feel authentic. And that was another important key point for us, is that we want these experiences and we want the themes to be authentic to the audience. Whatever age you are, you can look back at your experiences and really relate to the characters and relate to the story. And so we kind of took some of those things from those games I mentioned and kind of blended them into the mystery games of the other games I mentioned to really give a kind of a unique blend of different gameplay.
From a narrative standpoint, yes, we looked at all of those things as well for the sorts of tropes and whatnot that we're dealing with, but I don't know that we really looked too deep into the modern gaming world either. Academic narratives have been in my blood since before I got into MMOs, and I got hired in the year 2000. To me, I got my start doing Call of Cthulhu and H.P. Lovecraft, and I wrote a 400-page source book about Miskatonic University. So things like A Separate Piece or The Secret History, these notions of there is a school, Tam Lin is another one. There is a school, but underneath it there is secret stuff that you have to figure out, and then it gets weirder and weirder the deeper you go. That's what we're aiming for. We really want, it's not a fairy tale like Wizard, it's more of a YA, John Hughes movie sort of a thing. We want these people who wander into your narrative, whether they're a professor or whether they're a fellow student, we want them to be characters. And after writing quest text for a quarter century, this was a rude awakening, but it has been so fun.
Well, I just played the demo, loved it, and I know that, someone from my generation, obviously what it evoked a lot for me was Harry Potter, and playing a game in that kind of magical wizarding school vibe is definitely a wish fulfillment thing. I'm wondering what kind of magical elements or maybe classes or mechanics that players will be able to interact with throughout the game, those kinds of things.
We are still sorting a lot of that out, but the actual classes and the projects and stuff will be central to the narrative. So you will go to class and you will get lectured about our magic system.
Yeah.
And the good thing is, with a 17-year-old MMO, we know what the School of Magic is. Each one, we know their philosophy, we know what they do and what they don't do. But we get to go, well, how do these spells work when you're not in combat? You know, what else can they do? And we're going to play with that. Because we're a more linear virtual novel, the magic that we're going to have is going to be very moment specific. You know, at a climax, there's the thing, cast a spell, and you know, we might let you cast this or this or this, but you know, you'll do an animation and there'll be a flash and then we'll cut to after. You know, we're not doing combat. But
we'll intersperse some different small puzzle mechanics into this sort of paragraph assembly experience, and those things will be have magical themes to them. Whether it's like, you know, tracing your symbol of your school and then the resulting spell is cast, or kind of whatever. But you know, there's no combat in it in the game because it's just an adventure game. But we will use these things thematically to kind of build puzzles around.
And like for instance, there is a crazy magic shop in Wizard City that's not officially part of the school, and this very interesting old raven runs it. And she knows a lot about magic that the professors don't know. But if you want to get her advice on things, she might ask you to help her brew a dozen potions in the back. And so there'll be a mini game around that. And I can say that the actual deep plot and the mystery that is going on, magic is at the center of it. Weird old magic that is not supposed to be taught and that nobody even thinks is real. It is. And some people figured it out. And how much can you piece together so that you can confront it and come away okay?
And it was Wizards' intricate lore and world building that inspired us to make this game. And so, you know, the narrative will be as deep as anyone should expect from Wizard. But then, as Sam says, with 17 years worth of history behind it, we have a lot to tap into and reference. None of it's going to be required to enjoy the game, but it does give those Easter egg moments for Wizard 101 fans to enjoy it even more.
Oh, absolutely. And that's something we've been experiencing on the floor quite a bit. We have lots of instances where we'll have players come up who are hardcore Wizard 101 fans, and they play through the demo, and they get to the end and they get a little teary-eyed because they know who those characters are, and it hits you right in the feels.
Yeah. But even if they don't, one of my main goals with this demo was to give you the impression that there is a huge world going on. Because as a mystery game, it's very hard for us to do a floor demo because there's, you know, these investigations are going to take 15 or 20 minutes, and just to get people through it on time, certain people told me it's got to be 4 minutes or less, 4 minutes or less. Yeah. So we wrote this demo very specifically to refer to lots of things and make you feel like this is a rich world, because when you're in the game, you will be in one.
Yeah, so the demo was really trying to be an approximation of what a game experience would be like without pulling in the actual mechanics, because they would just take too long. Yeah. There's no portion, the game is very deliberately paced, it's very slow paced, and so it's just not something that plays well on the floor. So we made something a little chippy, and we've got a lot of things that are just implying exactly what we expect you to do. So then we can talk to the player, people who play the demo, about, you know, what do they expect, what are they leaving with, what's their impression, and we've gotten a lot of great feedback.
Yes. Yeah. Something we've done with Wizard from inception is put in references to real world things. You know, we'll give them a punny name and twist them around and make them a little silly, but you know, if you know what we're referring to, you'll be very amused by it. And even if you don't, it's still really cool. And so that's what we're aiming for. You don't have to know Wizard to play this game. You know, you'll see things and feel differently about things, but it's still a nifty place to hang out. And yeah, the pacing, I want this game to be comfortable, because that's the way Wizard is. And getting that tone to carry over has been one of our biggest challenges in narrative. But I'm pleased with the result.
Well, from the development perspective, we expect this to be a noteworthy entry into the genre of adventure mysteries. And so we feel like we have a unique blend of features that will allow us to do that. And it takes place in the Spiral because the Spiral has such an interesting foundation of lore and characters. But the game most definitely will stand on its own in that genre, for fans of that genre. And then for Wizard fans who like that vibe, who like that type of feel, and who like the history and the lore and the aesthetic, it's also going to hit them too. So this isn't something where we're just, just hitting up Wizard 101 just to do that. At all. We wanted to make sure that we had something that the team could get excited about, and that we could be like I said, a noteworthy addition.
17 years ago, a lot of people came to Wizard City for the first time, and they stayed. And so we're going to try to make sure that all of that appeal is here, so that even if you're coming to Ravenwood for the first time, you will stay and hopefully get to come back.
Amazing. Well, you've sold me on the game, you've sold me on the demo. When can we play it?
Next year.
Yes.
Next year.
Yeah. Release date?
2026 is as much date as you're getting out of me.
I mean, so the studio hasn't made a new game in a long time, over a decade. And so there's a lot of learnings and muscles that need to be stretched that haven't been stretched in a long time. And so there comes folks who've worked on the live service for a decade, there's a predictability and a stability to the process. And that is not how new games work. And so, we have to move at the pace that as people adapt and acclimate to what it means to make a new game. And so part of that is there's going to be an iterative cycle where, we have to make sure that the game experience meets our expectations and our fans' expectations. And so that makes it impossible to predict with any accuracy. Because we'll iterate, we'll play on it, we'll get it, and then when we get it right, we'll let everybody else play.
There's definitely an element of old dogs learning new tricks, right? We have our engine that we've had for 17 years, and oh wow, now we're using Unity all of a sudden. It's like, oh, what can we do with this?
Yeah, it's great though.
Yeah, it's incredible.
All the new stuff that we can do.
It's, on the art side, it's amazing because we're like, oh, dynamic lighting? Yes, please. And we've been, new shaders, new, things we can do. It's awesome, but we have that little bit of time that we need to spend kind of getting it figured out. And then once we do, like I was mentioning before, with the combination of the outline shader and actually painting on the inside, we can actually do something really cool that I think is unique to us that other people will not have.
Well, indie folks will know that you don't want to put a lot of development effort into something that you're not 100% sure about in direction. And that's why we were kind of like what Carl's talking about. We needed to define different pipelines. We needed to make sure that we were working on the concept until everyone was really comfortable with it. And now we're in a position, I think, where we're ready to kind of really hit the ground running. And so I expect, if everything goes well, that we'll turn it around. But next year, it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think we've finally ended inventing, and now we can iterate. And yeah, it hits every discipline. I mean, I've been writing quests for 25 years, but these are not people who say 3 phrases to you and then leave, and they talk in funny voices and then we're done. Nope, these are people. This is like this is a season of TV drama, and I am luckily in the writing team. We have people who have come from stage and theater instead of games, who have a very different perspective on all of this stuff. I've had to relearn most of what I do. It's like, well, how long will it take you to write 500 lines? Oh, not these lines. But even sound, we run our VO sessions differently because we need a different level of emotion and out of these people. And it has been crazy.
Yeah, and on the game dev side and the live service, you basically have an infinite backlog, right? Ideas come, you put them in the backlog, you stack rank them, and you'll eventually get there. Well, I'd have been telling them, I mean, if you know the movie Glengarry Glen Ross, always be closing. And it's hard for people to acclimate to that. ABC. As soon as, like, when we're about a third into the development of the project, I don't want to hear anything new. All right? Close, because otherwise you're never going to finish, or it's going to look like a mess. And so you just got to cut, and it's uncomfortable for folks. But I think now they get it, because, you know, we've just taken the time to let them adjust to what a new game means. And so that's why I feel pretty confident about where we are now.
Well, got to close it because we want to play it. But yeah, that's Ravenwood Academy coming 2026 on PC?
PC. Sorry, yes.
Amazing. So we'll have more thoughts on Controller Club at our next episode and everything else we played at PAX. Thank you guys so much for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.